go through seasons like that sometimes. But by faith, we know that God is there. By faith. So it would be easy to feel like she was forsaken by God. So we don't want to come down too hard on Naomi because of the revelation she had in that day. Just like I mentioned several times a few weeks ago, several times before. All these people want to tear down statues and all these things. And because, listen, our founders were good men, but they weren't perfect. And they had their negative times. They had their bad times. They had their times of make you wonder. But you've got to understand that, again, they didn't have, as brilliant as what they were, they still didn't have the revelation of this word that we had today. So they were operating in what they knew. They were operating in what they've been taught, how they've been raised, and all these things. Why is it we'll give that benefit to people here and nowadays, and we'll say, oh, well, they were raised that way. But we won't give that benefit to people from 200-300 years ago. And we have to understand, that's the day they lived in. That's the day they grew up in. That was their understanding of that day, whether it's right or wrong, good, bad, pretty, or ugly. That was their understanding of that day. So tearing down statues is not going to change anything like that. Ripping off portraits is not going to change anything about all that. That has been done. History has been recorded. That has been done. All we can do is move on from this point. Listen, what these people need to understand, yeah, there were some bad times in our country. Our nation has gone through a number of bad times and bad years and bad seasons. That has happened. We've gone through the things. But listen, we are better today because of it. We can do better. We can be better. We are being better in a lot of cases because we've learned from those things. The civil rights movement was born out of those things, and because of the civil rights movement, we become a better nation. Better people. But doing all this other nonsense, it's not settling, it's not helping anything. It's not going to change anything, and it ain't going to help anything. So, in her time, she didn't have the revelation about the enemy that we have now because they didn't have the entire Bible. So, a judgment that's wrought out of deep despair and anguish is not necessarily true. Okay? God wasn't dealing with her bitterly. She made the decision. As wrong as what it was. But sometimes, even in our day and time, people who are operating out of despair, they're operating out of anguish. They say things that sometimes just aren't necessarily true. They want it to be true. They hope it's true. They even may believe it's true. They heard somebody else say it, and they think that makes it true. But there's a lot of statements people make out of anguish and things. You know, I try to be aware now not to make such silly statements because I do know better, and I've had revelation on it. You know, someone passes away. Well, in our culture, whether they're saint or ain't, people say they automatically go to heaven. Well, they're in a better place. Are they? We need to think before we make statements like that. Are they? If they die without Jesus, they're in a better place. Well, they're not in any pain anymore. They aren't. They die without Jesus, they're in pain. Oh, God just received another angel in heaven. Greek word again. Pt.1-Seg.9. God ain't making any more angels. You don't become an angel even if you're the greatest Christian on the planet. The Apostle Paul, Peter, none of those guys became angels when they died. They didn't sprout a set of wings and become angels when they died. Even though that's even debatable, itself to some degree. But about the wings and stuff. But we do know there are winged creatures. But no, heaven. You can say, if you are relatively sure the person is ready to meet the Lord, they serve God, and they're ready to meet Him and stand before Him. You can say, well, heaven's a sweeter place now. You might be all right saying that. Man, heaven's just that much more sweeter because that person's there now. That may be valid, but they ain't become an angel. God just needed another angel. No, God, we needed another angel. He'd just create one. Listen, the Bible teaches that we have it better than the angels. Hallelujah. The Bible, we were in this a few weeks ago, not a couple of months ago. The Bible teaches that you and I, as saints of God, will judge angels. Those angels that rebel with Lucifer, we're going to be sitting in a judgment seat over those guys. Hallelujah. Glory to God. So let's don't be too quick just out of sympathy or whatnot to say things that just aren't true. That just aren't so. And there's a whole list of things we could go on and cover on that. I got to move on. Got to tell you I'm going to land plane. I'm fixing to.